What's up YouTube? It's me, Sir Lawrence, and today I'm going to show you the best Forza Horizon 5 upgrades and let you know which upgrades are worth installing on your car. I'm going to be doing these upgrades on this 1989 Toyota MR2. Let's get into it. The first thing you always want to look at is the conversion upgrade screen. Most vehicles have some sort of aspiration option, whether it's a turbo or a supercharger. This vehicle in particular already has a supercharger installed, so it only has a turbo option. Turbos are usually better than superchargers, but it's really your personal preference. Engine and drivetrain swap, I really don't recommend changing these unless you plan on making drastic changes to your car. Next up, Aero and appearance. Aero is completely optional, and most cars usually only have two options, such as this one, which is the Forza splitter, the front bumper, and the Forza rear wing. I don't recommend installing these. It's up to you if you want them, but usually they should be ignored. However, if the car has custom bumpers, side skirts, or hoods, they would be found on this menu as well. Next up, tires. Now, tires are one of the most important part of building your car. They can make or break your build. Normally, your tire choice is determined by your performance rating and how high or low you want to keep your car. What I like to do is see how semi-slicks affect my performance and then go from there. I'll look at the sport or street tire compound. If my car is going to be low power, I wouldn't mind putting a low grip tire. But if I'm making a high power car, I need a high grip tire, which will be semi-slick. Now the Hot Wheels semi-slick, the Forza Horizon semi-slick, and the regular semi-slick tire are all the same tire. They just have visual differences. This one says Forza Horizon on the sidewall. This one has a red line on the sidewall. Personally, I don't recommend any of these other treads for road going vehicles unless you're making an off-road rally vehicle. You could use the rally tire compound, or if you're making an off-road, full off-road vehicle, you could use the off-road race tire compound. For this build, we're going to go with semi-slicks. After picking your tire, if your vehicle allows, widen your track width. This gives your car a wider stance and makes it handle a little bit better. Another notable upgrade in the tire section is the rims. Now, I'm not going to get too deep into the rims, but there's three sections: sport, multi-piece, and specialized rims. They all have various ratings. They usually give you about a +1 or +2 or even a -1 or -2 depending on the rim. Another upgrade to note in this screen, the tire width itself. I don't really recommend this if you're doing a build that's trying to get to a certain performance rating, because what this does is take away points that could be allocated elsewhere for an upgrade that won't help you as much as something else potentially could. So ignore tire width for now. Next up, drivetrain. The most important upgrade in the drivetrain here is the transmission. Installing a race transmission is crucial to your vehicle's performance. 6 or 7 gears is ideal, but you can go with 8 if you really want to. 9 or 10, I don't really recommend. The next important upgrade on the drivetrain screen is the differential. Now, this depends on what kind of car you're building, but there's many differential options. I'm going to put a race differential on this car, and as you can see, it unlocks full differential tuning, which is what we need. Driveline and clutch upgrades aren't fully needed. I usually ignore these because I like to save the points to be used elsewhere. Those little points really add up. Next, platform and handling. Springs, anti-roll bars, and brakes are the most important upgrades on this screen. Each of these will unlock their respective tuning option, and no matter what car you're building, you need those upgrades. Brakes, not the most important. You can go with street brakes or even sport brakes if you want to, but race brakes are the only option that will unlock the brake tuning. For springs and dampers, you for sure need race, drift, or rally springs, because those will unlock spring, damper, and alignment tuning, and that's what you need. I always choose race springs just to be safe, and then I adjust from there. Front and rear anti-roll bars, always upgrade to the highest upgrade, which is race anti-roll bars, because that unlocks anti-roll stiffness tuning, which is crucial in making your car drive the way you want it to drive. For now, we'll ignore the chassis reinforcement and weight reduction because those things, once again, take away points in my build that I'd like to allocate to other things in the engine. Now, the engine upgrades. I like to apply the upgrades in order of importance. Camshafts are first because they're crucial in improving your vehicle's top speed. Also, camshafts change the way that your engine sounds when you're revving at full throttle on the build screen. After you get your camshafts locked in, you want to do your supercharger slash turbo slash whatever aspiration you have on. It's probably either supercharger or turbo. Most of the upgrades in the engine screen will be untouched if you're building to fit a certain performance rating, depending on what that rating is. If you do have points to spare in your build as I get disconnected due to inactivity, you want to upgrade exhaust, then intake, then intercooler, oil and cooling, and lastly flywheel. With these upgrades, your car should be mostly finished, but as you can see, our car isn't close to a round number. I like to take it to 800, 700, 900 on the dot. We're at 743, we're going to build this up to 800 on the dot. If your car is really low on points and you're trying to hit your limit, weight reduction will boost you greatly in that direction. I like to save my rim upgrades for last because I like to see how the rim affects the completed build, and in this case, I think it looks pretty good. If you find yourself at the end of your build and you don't have enough points to hit your limit, such as you're at 799 and you're trying to get to 800 or 900, whatever you're trying to get to, rims will be the first place to look for that extra point. And if you can't find it in rims, you can always go to flywheel, you could always go to drive shaft, you could always go to clutch. Those are always something that will give you small boosts that could help you get to your goal if you're really in need of 1 or 2 points. Once you get your build settled, install all your upgrades, then take your vehicle for a spin, see how it drives. Now, if your car is anything like mine, then you just took it for a spin and noticed it is really in need of a tune-up. But don't worry, we'll handle that in another video. But to sum up this video, there's 3 tiers of upgrades: major, minor, and optional. The list of major upgrades includes aspiration, tire tread and track width, transmission upgrades, differential, springs and anti-roll bars, brakes, and your camshafts. Minor upgrades, meaning these are things I highly recommend but they're not necessary: turbo and intercooler upgrades, intake and exhaust upgrades, oil and clutch, and tire width. Minor upgrades, not fully needed, recommended. Optional upgrades that are never needed but fully up to you: aero, weight reduction, roll cage, rims, and the rim size. It doesn't mean you should ignore these things, it just means they should only be used if you're really in need of boosting your car's performance. Ultimately, how you want to build your car is up to you. I'm just here to help you figure out which upgrades are worth having. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, goodbye.